Hello everyone and welcome to MediSimplified. So today we are going to start with basics of dermatology, or I'll say the introduction to dermatology. So let's begin the discussion, and I hope it will be useful to each and everyone watching this. So dermatology introduction, right? So the skin has three layers in basics. So the three layers, the middle layer is called as dermis. The layer above dermis is called as epidermis, and below it is called as hypodermis. One second. Let me find the cursor once. Okay. So the middle layer is called as dermis. The layer above it is epidermis and below it is hypodermis. So if we go from above to downwards or outside to inside, so the layers of skin are epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. So now let's talk about this epidermis in detail. Let's talk about this epidermis in detail. So the epidermis basically has five layers. And those layers, to remember those five layers, I have a mnemonic with us, that is come let's get some books. So this is the mnemonic to remember the layers of epidermis. So come is for stratum corneum, and let's is for lucidum, get for granulosum, some for spinosum, and books for basale. So come let's get some books: stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum basale. So now let's talk about each of the stratum one by one. So starting with the stratum corneum. Starting with the stratum corneum, it is the superficial layer or the topmost layer of the epidermis. It has no nucleus. It has flat cells, and the cells are fully keratinized, right? Fully keratinized. So if I'm supposed to draw a stratum corneum, I will go drawing it by a layer of flat cells, right, with no nucleus. Somewhat we can draw it like this. Now next layer is stratum lucidum. So this layer, stratum lucidum, is a trans-illuminant layer. It is a trans-illuminant layer. This transilluminacy is due to a granule called as elidin. Called as elidin. So it is due to elidin granules. This layer, that is stratum lucidum, and it is found mainly at two sites, which is very important to remember. It is found mainly at two sites, that is palms and sole. So mainly at palms and soles. I hope I'm clear till now. Now, next layer is stratum granulosum. Now, granulosum, the name granulosum is because it contains granules. Contains granules. Which type of granules? I will tell you in a while. The next layer is stratum spinosum, and the last layer is stratum basale. So these two layers together are known as Malpighian layer. Malpighian, Malpighian layer. Why I am telling you this detail? Because it is a commonly asked question in FMG exam. Now I don't know whether they ask single liners or not, but they used to ask these questions very frequently from derma. So these are the five layers: stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, spinosum, and basale. So the corneum is no nucleus, fully keratinized flat cells. Then the lucidum is transilluminant layer due to elidin granules, and it is present mainly at palms and soles. The third layer was stratum granulosum. It contains granules, and then let's talk about those granules. Okay. So these are the two granules in the two main granules in the stratum granulosum. One is keratohyalin granule, and another one is lamellar granule. So this lamellar keratohyalin granule produces a protein called as filaggrin. It is filament aggregating protein. Then the next one is lamellar granule. Lamellar granule is also known as Odland bodies. Lamellar granule is also known as Odland body, right? This is the Odland body. And the function of this lamellar granule is to synthesize lipids. And this lipid work as a barrier. Lipid work as a barrier. So the barrier function of the skin is done by this lamellar granules. Two granules in the stratum granulosum, keratohyalin granule, which produces filaggrin, lamellar granule, which synthesizes lipid. It is also known as Odland bodies, and the function of this lamellar granule is the barrier function of the skin. Going further, we can talk about the stratum spinosum now. Stratum spinosum is the thickest layer, right? It consists a spine-like process. The spine-like process is very important to remember, and the spine-like process is known as desmosome. The spine-like processes is known as desmosomes. Okay, so the spine-like process is known as desmosome, and this desmosomes, uh, they have a very important function, that is, they are the proteins. They are the proteins connecting an important cell of the epidermis, that is keratinocytes. What is keratinocytes? I will tell you in a while. But to remember desmosomes, it is important that it is a protein connecting all the keratinocytes. The stratum spinosum is also known as prickle cell layer, and it is the thickest layer, as I already told. Suppose this the circular with the nucleus I'm drawing here is a keratinocyte, and this pinkish margins are the desmosome. So these are the desmosomes. They are connecting these keratinocytes. So that is the function of a desmosome. Now this was about all the layers of epidermis. Now talking about the cells in epidermis. Before going about the cells, one more layer is left, that is stratum basale. It is a single layer. It is a single layer, and it is made up of tall columnar cell. It is made up of tall columnar cells with central nucleus. Okay, so to draw stratum basale, we will draw tall columnar cells with centrally located nucleus, this way. Okay, so this is all about the layers of epidermis. Going further, one more thing which I've already told you, that the basale, stratum basale and stratum spinosum are together known as Malpighian layer. So now we will talk what are the changes taking place when we go from the base of epidermis to the top of the epidermis, that is from the stratum basale to the stratum corneum. So this is how we go. This is the base, that is stratum basale, and this is the top, that is the stratum corneum. So as we go from the base to the top, we see the cells are flattened. The stratum basale has tall columnar cell, whereas when we read about the stratum corneum, we read that the cells are flat. So the flattening of cells takes place. The cells lose the nucleus. So loss of nucleus takes place as we go from the base to the top. If there is a presence of nucleus in the stratum corneum, it is a pathology. Make sure you don't make a mistake. So the stratum corneum is a flat cell with no nucleus, whereas the stratum basale is a tall columnar cell with a centrally located nucleus. Sorry. Also, when we go from the base to the top, increase in keratin, the keratinization takes place as we go from the base of the epidermis to the top of the epidermis. Also, the water is lost. That is, dehydration takes place. So these are the four important things to remember as we go from the base of the epidermis to the top of the epidermis. One is flattening of cells. Second is loss of nucleus. Third is loss of water, that is dehydration takes place. And the last is increase in keratinization. To remember, if you remember this thing also, it is very important that keratinization takes place, increase in the keratin levels is one thing which is increasing, whereas if we see water, it is we are losing water. If we talk about nucleus, the nucleus size nucleus is decreasing. If we talk about cell, also the length of the cell is decreasing. So basically everything is lost as we go from the base to the top, but the keratin content is increased. Now one very important thing which we should know when we are talking about the changes from going base to the top is epidermal transit time. What is epidermal transit time? It is the time taken to move from the stratum basale to the stratum corneum. So what is this epidermal transit time? Here it is. It is the time taken to move from the stratum basale to the stratum corneum. And this is usually 28 days. This is usually 28 days. In some diseases, what happens? This time may decrease or increase. So the normal ETT, the normal epidermal transit time was 28 days. In some diseases like psoriasis, if we talk about, the epidermal transit time turns out to be 3 to 5 days. That is very fast. And if you want to mark a single day or best answer, we can go for average 4 days. So in psoriasis, the epidermal transit time is decreased to 4 days, that is 3 to 5 days, whereas the normal epidermal transit time is 28 days. This is all about the layers of epidermis. Now we can go and talk about the cells of epidermis. So the basic important thing is the classification of the cells. Layers of the epidermis has two types of cell, keratinocytes and non-keratinocytes. So in non-keratinocytes, we have these cells, Langerhans cells, we have melanocytes, we have Merkel cells. Langerhans cells, Langerhans cells, melanocytes, and Merkel cells. If we talk about the keratinocyte, it is the only individual cell. It is more in number, that is 95%. If you see, it is ectodermal in origin, and the hallmark is KIF, that is keratin intermediate filament. Okay, so keratin intermediate filament. So these are the two types of layers of epidermis. We are talking basically now talking, I'm emphasizing on the non-keratinocytes. We have a kind of table with us, a very small table, which will help us to remember all this keratin, all this non-keratinocyte cells. So first we'll talk about Langerhans cells. So Langerhans cells are located in the stratum spinosum. They originate from the bone marrow. It contains the content of this granulosus. Langerhans cells are Berber granules, which are tennis racket shaped. You can see here, it is a tennis racket shape in appearance. The function of this Langerhans cells is APC, that is antigen presenting cells, and the important markers are CD100, CS100, CD19, and CD207. This CD207 is also known as Langerin, and it helps in the diagnosis of Langerhans cells histiocytosis. So this was the importance of Langerhans cells, right? It is located at stratum spinosum, originates from the bone marrow. Content is Berber granule, which is a tennis racket shaped granule. Function is antigen presenting cell, and the marker, one important marker CD207, is helping in the diagnosis of L histiocytosis. Now going further, we will talk about the melanocytes. What we will talk about? We will talk about melanocytes. So melanocytes, they are located in stratum basale. The origin is from neural crest. The content of this melanocyte are melanosomes. What is the function of this melanocyte? It produces pigment via melanin. Few important markers. S100 is common with the Langerhans cells, and HMB45 and melan A. These two might help us to diagnose the disease, that is melanoma. So this was about melanocytes. Now going further, talking about the Merkel cells. So Merkel cell is also located in stratum basale. It is ectodermal in origin as the keratinocytes were, right? So it is neurosecretory in function. Neurosecretory cells are present, and the function of Merkel cell is the mechanoreception. Also, the important marker of Merkel cell is cytokeratin 20, and it helps in the diagnosis of Merkel cell carcinoma. So these are the important things which we should know about the non-keratinocytes, right? Going further, we can talk about the very important thing, very small thing about the Merkel cell. That is, Merkel cells are touch receptors. They are touch receptors. Right? What kind of touch receptors? They are slow adapting and low threshold mechanoreceptors. So these are the important things we should know about the epidermis, layers of epidermis, and the cells of epidermis. Now we will go further and we will talk about the two important things, that is the dermis and the hypodermis. So going further, talking about the dermis. Dermis, you can see it is divided into two parts, that is the papillary dermis and the reticular dermis. So the papillary dermis is the 1/10 of the dermis, whereas the reticular dermis is the 9/10 of the dermis, right? So papillary dermis is 1/10, whereas the reticular dermis is 9/10. So the papillary dermis consists of loose connective tissue, whereas the reticular dermis consists dense connective tissue. Now, few important things, that is the contents of this dermis. One is the connective tissue. One is the connective tissue. Second is the glycosaminoglycans, that is the ground substance, right? Then we have the cells, that is fibroblast, macrophages, mast cells, lymphocytes, etc. Then the appendages, which include hair and glands. And last but not the least, very important for all the organs, is blood vessel and nerves. So these are the important contents of this dermis, right? Now going further, the last thing, we done with the epidermis. Now we talked about the dermis. The last very important thing, that is the hypodermis. Hypodermis is also known as subcutaneous tissue or panniculus, and it is responsible for insulation. It is responsible for insulation. It is responsible for insulation. One more thing, if any inflammation occurs at the hypodermis, it is known as panniculitis. Known as panniculitis. That is inflammation of hypodermis. Of hypodermis. So these are the important things to know about the hypodermis. Now we will talk about the basement membrane zone, that is the dermo-epidermal junction. It is the junction between the dermis and epidermis. Dermis and epidermis, the junction. So it consists of 4 layers, 4 zones, I will say. So zone 1 consists of hemidesmosome plus KIF, that is keratin intermediate filament. Zone 2 is lamina lucida, zone 3 is lamina densa, and zone 4 is made up of sublamina densa, or known as sublamina densa. So this was all about the layers of epidermis, the basics of dermatology or introduction of dermatology I had to discuss with you guys. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know how you like the derma version of derma I'm teaching. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, Medi Simplified. Thank you.